Praise Master Jesus.
Okay, so we have someone here that has been following us for a long time. Her name is April. And, we would like for her to share the testimony with the world.
Yes.
Okay? And what she revealed will bless so many people, even bless me. I know it blessed you. It blessed you. And she don't realize it, but she was kind of preaching about fear a little bit. So that's the part I shouldn't have brought up. But watch it and enjoy.
Yeah, just enjoy.
So I guess I'm gonna share my testimony.
Yeah.
Thank you so much again for your prayers. About a month ago, I contracted the coronavirus, and I was one of the people that were asymptomatic. So I didn't really have any of the symptoms right away. And I actually wind up, I believe, passing it to my mom, who is high risk because she's 60, she's above 60, and she's asthmatic. And so I had passed it on to her. And then a few days I was staying with her. I had to give her something. So I went to visit her. She was a couple hours away from me. And I had to give something to her. And I wound up spending the night there. And it just seemed like the next day I woke up and I started feeling dizzy. And I was like, why am I feeling so nauseous? And immediately I started panicking a little bit. But I had to, with the corona, it's with the symptoms already like a little scary. So anytime you feel like anxiety, it'll kind of like worsen the symptoms or increase them. So I was battling heavily with the spirit of fear and anxiety, and I just felt it coming on me. And I started to retreat and go back into prayer. And immediately when I told my mom, then she started getting scared. And I think that's one of the reasons that created that open door for the enemy to come in and attack so heavily in the first place, is because we started allowing that spirit of fear to come on us. And so I was like, let me just go home and quarantine myself. And she's like, I can't get this, I'm high risk and this and that. So she started panicking. And so I'm at home, days go by, the symptoms get worse, they get better, and then it's like every few days you would get like a new symptom and it would be so bad. I got a headache and I got an extreme fever, and I was just like praying, and I kept asking my mom, are you feeling okay? Do you need me there? She's like, no, I'm fine. But I can tell her body was getting really weak. And so one night I just went to sleep, and then I just had this dream. And in the dream, like the enemy just came, and I didn't know if it was a vision or if it was like a plan of the enemy, but I just had a dream that my mom called me to come by her side, and she was like reaching out for me, and she was trying to breathe, but it was like she was gasping for air, like her last breath. And so immediately I jumped out of my sleep, and I was so afraid. I just started praying, and it really took like everything in me, because I was so weak I can barely stand up. So I just began praying, and I hadn't eaten in days because my appetite was completely gone. But I was like, the only thing that I can do is pray. And I was reaching out to a whole bunch of ministers that I knew, and was just like trying to just sow seeds of breakthrough and anything that I could do. Because I was like, God, I don't know if I'll be able to, something happen, if I'll be able to reach her in time. So I was just praying, and I reached out to you guys, and you guys did prayers for me as well. And I remember that night going to sleep, and I was just like, if it's your will for me to be there with her, Lord, you would just give me energy the next day for me to be able to reach her. And that night I went to sleep peacefully, because the last few nights I kept jumping out of my sleep. I wasn't able to sleep for days. And it was like I kept just feeling this spirit of anxiety that would keep me awake. And so that night I was able to go to sleep peacefully. And the next day, I woke up with so much energy, and I just began cleaning my house, and I called my mom, and then I just went over there to see her, and we were able to like come together in prayer, and I was able to lay hands on her, and we just spent time in the Lord and spent time in worship, and you know, I'm just so thankful of that experience, because even though it was so petrifying, it allowed us to get closer to God more than ever before, and to fellowship and come together, and it increased our faith so much. Because at one time when I went to see her, she started blacking out a little bit because her fever gotten high, but I was there and I had Tylenol for her, and I was able to just help her and assist her with anything she needs, because she has asthma. So I was able to help her with her medicine, and we just thank God that He brought us through. Yes, we're so thankful.
That's something else.
Yes, I'm so glad that both of y'all are okay. That God healed you both.
Wow.
Amen. Amen.
That's
Yes.
that's just great news, you know.
Yes.
You know, like when the first time I heard it, I was like, wow, there is nothing God cannot do.
Amen.
He is a faithful God.
Yes, He is.
And whenever we call, He always answers. Yeah, I remember when you emailed about that. I called my wife right away. I said, babe, can you believe that? No, we're not gonna allow this. Like,
Amen.
and in prayer, like we was, I think I was pointing on the email. Remember very correctly.
Yes.
I was pointing on the email. We was praying, like we said, it's not happening. You know, because we know you from, you've been following us from a long time. So, also, like we said, we stood on our ground.
Yes.
We said, no.
For you.
Yes.
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 Thank God.
Yes. Thank you, Lord. I just kept remembering, like, just going over scriptures and just remembering how faithful God is. And this is the things that I just kept meditating on, all of His promises. And I just kept saying, no one in my family is going to die before our testimony.
Exactly.
And I just kept standing on that. And I was like, God, if you bring me out of this, when you bring me out of this, I'm not going to let the enemy hold me back any longer. Because it's like He was trying to take me out of here. So it's like, what's the point of allowing Him to keep my mouth closed? If He's coming at me like that, I have to take a stand, you know?
Right.
So I'm so grateful to be able to tell my testimony.
I'm glad that you broke that fear.
Yes.
I bet you won't I bet you won't allow fear again.
No.
Yeah.
Boy.
It's not worth it, is it? Yeah.
No.
It's not worth it. I mean,
no.
So, this should teach a lot of people. You know, as people of God, we should just trust Him no matter what's going on around us. You know,
right.
And I don't know what area you're in, but you know, a lot of people are going through it in New York, and you know, people, whoever is in New York need to just be like, God got us. God is covering us.
Yeah.
I remember I always have those dreams that the body of Christ is in a bubble. It's covered in like a bubble. It's like our kids get those dreams, or me and my husband get those dreams, where it's a lot of trouble going around us, but God is protecting us in a bubble. So,
Amen.
Protecting us, you know. So God allowed you to go through this, you and your mother, for this testimony.
Yes.
Amen. Yes, I truly believe that.
You don't know how many people out there this testimony is going to encourage, and also make them to come close to God and stay in their word.
Yes.
Stay in their word, stay in their prayers, and you know their faith will come up more, and they will stay very strong.
Yeah, because we need to know that if the doctor can't fix it, God can.
100%
You know, so God can do it. It's, you know, they say it's no cure right there, right? But I know it's a lot of news that it has been cures, but I guess they're not really allowing the cure.
Yeah. I think World Health Organization has approved.
Oh, they have approved some. You know me, I don't even listen to the news.
Yeah, I try not to either.
Yes, because it'll put fear in you.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know if these news if it's accurate or not accurate.
Right.
I don't know, right? And you know, and the news will use fear tactics to try to mind control you. And on other cases, I know something's gonna be true, right? So yeah, watch it. So I'm a little behind on what's really going on. Yeah,
no,
I can't do it.
Satan is tricky too. You know, all this of these news people, CNN and all that.
Yeah,
CNN know where they belong. You know,
right.
They belong in satanic kingdom, and they are agents to put more fear in people. Like I was even like, how family member has contacted this? How many of family members die from this? Like, can they give us some updates from their family?
Some good news.
So they can. No, don't worry about the good news.
Don't worry about the good news.
Yeah.
That they've been sharing. What about like show or say this my family member I lost it
Right.
Then we can also be in the same, you know, we know okay you are telling the truth but not showing us anything. But I mean,
that makes sense.
We are grateful for your testimony.
Yes. I'm so thankful.
And God has healed a lot of people out there. There's a lot of people that God healed, and He will never stop. Remember, He promised that He was going to heal a lot, and He's going to bring out a cure. And He never. He's doing a great job.
Yes, He is.
Amen.
So we're going to end this interview here.